Back once again from the ad break. We are discussing the state of our roads and transport here in Nelson Mandela Bay. This matter is so critical, yet there was a strong debate around this issue in yesterday's council meeting of this municipality. Tonight, as I have said, or as I have indicated to you, that I am hosting three political organizations or three councillors that are from the political parties. That is Councillor Mxolisi Breakfast and Councillor Mani. But later on, we'll be joined by Councillor Lawrence Throne of Good Party. Again, Senamkel. Councillor Mani, just give us a picture of what you have done, even before this month that we are celebrating transport and roads nationally. What have you done?
As the ANC prepares?
What do you mean as the ANC?
No, because prepares, and it's very important. Councillor Breakfast speaks about things that were said by Gary van Niekerk, who's a mayor in this coalition.
What have you done?
Yes.
As the coalition government?
Now, the main custodian of this particular government is going to be the executive mayor, because I've been sent here by my party. Because where this is going, he makes a point about Van Niekerk saying things about potholes and festival. We will not be speaking on his behalf.
Okay, give us.
I can assure you of
Councillor Mani, as someone who forms part of the standing committee, what have you done as that committee?
No. As a committee person, a person who serves in the committee, part of the reasons I'm saying, I'm surprised that Councillor Breakfast and anyone who was listening to the council of yesterday does not make a reflection about such a significant move that takes the IPTS program into Kariega. Just yesterday, I have the item before me. We were dealing with it yesterday. So it's things that they're not saying about. They're not saying anything about the fast response of the Roads and Transport Standing Committee when UTNIC was hit by a disaster a couple of months ago to clean up and mop up. They're not saying anything about the resurfacing in a number of wards. In Ward 41, you can just go to Facebook. You can go to many of the wards, the work that has been done. In Ward 46, there was work being done, the patching up of the potholes. So I'm saying it's very strange to me that a councillor who's been with us in council receives reports, receives budgets that gets passed, and you know that the bulk of the budget also goes, or a huge portion of the budget would go towards the road and stormwater directorate, because it's one of the major service delivery directorates. So it's work that has been done over the past couple of months. I'm making just a reflection on 3 or 4 things. The other one is
there anything that you know about what Councillor Mani is talking about, Councillor Mxolisi Breakfast?
But Percy, Councillor Mani is not stating the true reflection of issues on the ground.
Give us the true reflection.
Yeah, the true reflection is that when we took over government in 2023, even in 2016, what we did what is called road reprioritization. We fixed large stretches of roads in areas like your Fountain Road in Warm and
Councillor Breakfast. Councillor Mani has listed a number of things that they have done. Do you know what he is talking about?
Yes, I know that there was a disaster in the UTNIC area.
Are you saying thumbs up to them?
I can't say, because there's still a huge outcry in the UTNIC area. The very colleagues of Councillor Mani were present yesterday. Council, they were crying foul in that council. They're saying that report is not a true reflection of what is happening on the ground in those wards. Councillor Percy Mxolisi stood up and said the report is not a true reflection. And no one disputed that. Even the city said they are going to recraft that report and present it again to council. They never disputed that.
Your response?
But Percy, luckily I was in council. What Councillor Pesa did in yesterday's council meeting was to make corrections where a street is being allocated into a wrong ward. That exercise was done. Anyone who can go to a record will see. Councillor Pesa stood up, named streets that belong to a ward that have been, through a typo or whatever kind of mistake, had been allocated to a different ward. Councillor Pesa was not come here and mislead us. The information was the assessment being done by the same territory that people are saying has not done anything, to say these are the number of streets that have been affected. This is the financial implication. This is the plan moving forward. So when you deal with such a detail, there would obviously be mistakes. You would allocate a street into a wrong ward and all of that. And councillors got up and said, no, this street is in my ward and. And the city manager correctly so said we'll make those corrections. And that is the job of councillors. Councillor Breakfast would have stood up yesterday and said, we're lying. He stays in Motherwell. He must say to us if the streets in Motherwell are so bad that he cannot access his own home. I'm very interested to know where he stays, because I know, for an example, in a number of wards that are NC-led in the entire of Motherwell, there is work being done. Are we happy with everything? We are not. Are we happy? Are we saying we must fold our arms and cry? No, we're not. That's why we go to council and we raise issues that we're raising. So we go to standing committees and raise the issues that we're raising.
So you deserve to toast the champagne in this month.
But we must use the October month as transport month to raise issues of transport, but as an awareness program throughout the month, but also to make a reflection of the work that has been undertaken throughout the year and what we intend on doing moving forward. That's what we must use the transport month for, as an awareness month, because we're going into the festive season. Amakapa azawubuya la ahlala ePhayi aphangele eKapa. People are going to be going home from Motherwell. They are going to be going to Ngqushwa. Tourists are going to be coming in. Are you saying to me when a person enters the Nelson Mandela Metro going into a holiday home in Summerstrand, they will not be able to drive in our streets?
Let's give him
another
opportunity to respond. Councillor Breakfast.
Butpesi, you know, we live here in this city, Butpesi. I think even yourself, you can attest to my assertions. You can go to Motherwell. There are old areas there, like your NU29 and NU30 area, that still have gravel roads. There are old areas like your Kamvelishe and Welch still have gravel roads. And those areas are not getting priority by the current coalition. You can look even in terms of the budget spending and allocation. Those areas have never been prioritized by this coalition. So I'm very surprised for Councillor Mani to be so confident about the work that
Councillor Mani,
but the realities on the ground are pointing to something else.
Out of 10 points, what do you give yourself?
As the ANC, and I'll tell you why I'm saying as an ANC. Because it's us and the DA who share wards. It's the responsibility of the ward councillors through the processes of ITP and submissions that must raise
from the work that you have done.
Because I know the work.
Wards,
because,
out of 10,
yes,
the work that you have done in your wards, what do you give?
I would give them a solid 6.
6 out of 10.
Yes.
And then?
The current coalition.
What do you give yourself in your wards as the Democratic Alliance? Because he was talking as an ANC now, representing in that question ANC wards. In your wards?
10 out of 10.
In the same municipality, does that make sense?
Municipality which is called Nelson Mandela.
That is governed by our coalition. The DAs got wards. They are so happy about the state of their own streets and their wards. But interestingly, there is a crisis in the metro. How does that even make sense? And I knew he was going to give us that response. Very interesting.
Thank you very much, guys. Councillor Mxolisi Breakfast for making time and giving us your perspective around this issue of roads and transport month. Siyabulela. After the break, Councillor Lawrence Stroon up against Councillor Bongani Mani. Sinamkele kwakho sinamkela kwinkqubo yethu iVoice of the Bay. Good evening once again and welcome to your favorite talk show with myself, Percy M. Now we are joined by good party councillor the only councillor of good party in the council, that is Councillor Lawrence Troon, together with Councillor Mani of the African National Congress. Councillor Troon, siyakwamkela.
Welcome, Percy. Always nice being with you. I think, Percy, before we start, as a good party, we'd just like to express our condolences to the passing of our ministers Pravin and Tito Mboweni. Those were giants within the country, and I'm sure that their passing would leave a great void within our country. And our sympathies are also now like with the ANC at this time, because I am certain that the ANC would really miss that leadership that was given by those two. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Lawrence Troon. Councillor Lawrence Troon, you were listening to the two segments where we were talking about a number of issues that has to do with roads and transport in this municipality, and the state of our roads, as Councillor Mani tried to explain and give us a picture of what they have done as the coalition government, and even as the ANC in their wards, together with Councillor Mxolisi Breakfast. What is your take on their marks?
Yes,
Councillor Breakfast, he gave DA 10 out of 10 in terms of service delivery on roads and transport in their wards, and then the African National Congress 6 out of 10.
Okay, firstly, Percy, as I was sitting there, I was feeling very sorry for Councillor Mani. It seems to me that the ANC has some problem with him in sending him to come and defend this. There's nothing to defend, you know. We all know our streets don't lie. Wherever we ride, there's potholes. But it is interesting that they gave two different, one says 10 of 10, other one says 6 out of 10. We are living in a city, and we can call it a tale of two cities. Because if you go to Summerstrand and all of these western areas, there's no potholes. If you go there to where we are from, our roads are riddled with potholes. And I've always asked this question, why, Percy? Because you've got one Department of Roads and Transport. How is it that those very officials, and many of them live in our areas, there is no road surfacing that is taking place? But here in your Summerstrand and Millpark, all of these former white areas, the roads are perfect. Why? Because no accountability is being done in this municipality. And the officials know that the ANC does not worry about keeping officials accountable. Because it's a fact that I'm telling you. There is no potholes in these areas. Because these officials don't worry. When the DA come, then you would find out, no, that some tarring of roads would take place. And we must ask ourselves, why? Because I've always told our mayors, it is the officials that will determine and make any political party look bad or good. Because you must remember, it's not political parties that is tarring roads and fixing these potholes. It's these officials. Now, these officials, they've got the knack of making the ANC look bad. Then they can make the DA look good. The same officials.
Okay.
But they know that the ANC is weak when it comes to discipline and accountability.
Councillor Mani?
Yeah, no, it's quite interesting that Councillor Troon makes a correct admission at first, but learns wrongly. The difference between Utenake, Matlaki, Motherwell, and Summerstrand is an infrastructural problem. The designers of apartheid never had in their plans these areas that I'm talking about. That's why water runs smoother, even when it's raining in these affluent areas. It's an infrastructural problem. But the other point that he makes, which we must take and have a debate about, is the response time to complaints and all of that. There, I agree with him. I agree with him that the response time in relation to a complaint that is coming from Motherwell, that is coming from KwaNobuhle, that is coming from New Brighton, how the officials are responding to it is different to how they respond to it when it comes from the areas of Summerstrand. And that we must collectively deal with. It can't be an ANC problem. We're not employing ANC officials here. We're employing people that we think are competent and are honest.
On the
and on the strength of their own CVs.
On the issue of lacking discipline, what do you say about that?
From officials.
Were you
Yes.
Were you referring to officials?
Yes, I'm speaking about
Okay,
officials.
fine.
Because what you see is that the only officials that they deal with and discipline are those that they argue with in a tavern or somewhere. No official is being disciplined for not doing their work. You see? Now, let us also say
that
this.
is what is lacking from the ANC.
Yes, because
Do you agree with Mr.
when
Tom?
it comes to governance.
Yeah.
Number two, let us just make this point first. You know what? The conditions of our roads is a reflection of the type of government that you have. Doesn't matter where you go. I'm from Kumga, and I hear what he's saying now, that this transport thing is not only from here. Since 1994, not one road was ever tarred in Kumga. When I go there, it's getting worse.
So the picture that we see is the reflection of the people who are leading.
100%.
Your take on that?
You can't argue with it.
But Percy, maybe if we call a councillor from a party that has more than one seat, because officials account in standing committees, officials account in council. Unfortunately for Councillor Truan, he is alone in a council of 120. So he can't be going to all standing committee meetings to bring all of these officials to book. But news for him, as the ANC delegation of 48 that is in council, we are in every standing committee. And we raise issues with all of these officials, no questions asked. We've got no fear or no favor. Even breakfast was here yesterday. It's the ANC that was making corrections in a report that was being brought, because we are that thorough with all officials. We don't fear. We even look at spelling. He was talking about Councillor Pezisa here. Councillor Pezisa was being thorough to mention street names, to say this street belongs here. So you can't blame the ANC for bringing accountability. I can mention a number of motions that we have brought as the ANC, trying to ensure that officials are actually accountable. I don't know what motion he has brought. Over and above that, he's alone. He might not even have
100%.
capacity.
We've got less than 3 minutes.
Can I just respond to me being alone? It's true. I'm only one. They are 48. But me, myself, I run circles around them. I run circles around all 48 of them. Who is the councillor that speaks about fraud and corruption in this metro? In council, out of council? It's myself. Did they ever go to any police station and open cases about fraud and corruption? Yes, I am alone, but I dominate council more than what they since November 2021. You see? So he made the worst mistake by saying that I'm alone and they are 48. They're 48, they're not even enough for me. Go back to every council that has played. You'd find out I dominate council more than what they do. He can't even argue with it.
Is that so?
He knows.
But Percy, council meetings are public. We should be having a council meeting in the next 10 days or so. I want the public, including you, I know you watch sometimes, just watch the chaos that Councillor Tron brings to the table. I'm talking substance. I'm not talking noise.
He's speaking about chaos.
I'm talking substance. I'm not talking what he's just doing now. It gets worse in council. He can never match.
We've got only 40 seconds.
He can never.
Do we deserve to celebrate this month?
But Percy, we must not speak as if nothing has ever been done.
Do we deserve to celebrate?
So the fact
yes
that,
or no?
Yes, definitely,
Do we
because
deserve to
you
celebrate?
drive a car to
absolutely
here.
not. You see, the fact that you could not answer you had to almost pull that out of him. Percy, there is nothing to celebrate. I sent you a picture, it was yesterday, of Durban Road. It's almost like a dam there. There was a boat in the middle of the place. So, and I said yesterday, like in council, what this government has done They are taking us back. We come from riding donkeys and horses. They're taking us back to that era. Because now with your car, you cannot ride there. Let us not. Lastly, of that 430 million rand that was sent back, ne? I think that part of that money was for road surfacing. The problem that they are led by the worst mayor in the
Let's leave it
century of
there.
this.
Let's
So,
leave it
so
there.
you'll never be able to
Nkosi
get
kakhulu.
anything right while you got a mayor like that. I know you don't like to hear about Kerry.
Thank you. No. We are rounding out of
Yes.
time, Councillor Drone. Please
As-
take your seat. Take your seat. We will go for a commercial ad break. But thank you very much for making time, Councillor Mani
Always
of the
nice with you,
of the African National Congress, and you, good party councillor, the only one. only one
Yeah,
in the Nelson
the
Mandela.
only one, but we are the one that is vocal.
Let's leave it there and go for a commercial ad break. Sinamkela kwinkqubo yethu i-VOP kulo nongena ngalo thuba siyakwamkela. Good evening to those who are joining us now. Siyanamkela kwinkqubo yethu i-VOP. Tonight I am also hosting Mr. Nkululeko Mantana, who is our political analyst. Mr. Mantana, once again, good evening.
Good evening to you, Mr. Lamani, and to the viewers.
Why are you smiling? You were listening with interest.
Yes, I know I was listening with interest.
In that debate of transport and the state of our roads and transport here in Nelson Mandela. Your take?
My take is that I think it's premature for us to celebrate equestrian roads and transport for now. But I was happy when the ANC then reflected and said, reverted and said, no, there will be an awareness. Because in that awareness, we need to take the truck, because it said it's a national project. That is first number one. So if it's a national project, we've got too many trucks that are doing the freight of the state, delivering all these minerals and all per the road. So the partnership between the roads and transport and Transnet will help, because these trucks on the road are the ones that are damaging the road, because this freight must be conveyed by a rail line by Transnet. So we must not celebrate now. We need to check what can be done. Yes, there must be an awareness.
In terms of improvements.
In terms of improvement. But at the same time, Councillor Drone said something very important that I said, I think, last time. To say, you know, councillors are accountable and officials are responsible. So that dichotomy, the politics and administration dichotomy, is very important, because the implementation, the change, proper change, practical change, is with the officials, the bureaucratic side of it. They can make the laws, they can make the bylaws, they can do all that stuff. But if there is no, they can make their own official responsible for what they are doing, then you must just forget, because most of audits, Mr. Lamani, audits these adverse findings of our municipality. It's not because of the councillors, it's because of the officials, because the following procedures in terms of procurement and the irregular expenditures, over expenditures, they are coming from the official side. So what Mr. Drone was saying, I agree with him fairly well, that you need to ensure that officials are doing their work, there is efficiency and there is effectiveness. You go there to Helen Vale, you go to automotive, you see trucks there with no wheels, nothing. You go there, you go to Helen Vale's there by Galvandale. I made a turn one day. I saw with my own eyes. I mean, that is not a right side. what I observed there.
Let's leave it there with the word that you are saying we need to do improvements.
Yeah, we need to do improvements. We need to do the awareness, but at the same time, it's too early to celebrate.
That's your opinion.
Yes, that's my view.
We are mourning as the nation. Last Saturday, we lost one of the great thinkers, one of the great economists, Mr. Tito Mboweni, who was born in Tzaneen, who served as the commissioner. In fact, the governor, not a commissioner, as the governor and the minister of finance. His contribution is highly appreciated even by the former president, Mr. Thabo Mbeki, and others. What can you say about him?
I concur with you, and I agree that that was a very selfless leader. He contributed immense in our struggle. We really need to commend him. At the time when he went to exile, he never knew that he's going to be the governor of this country. He never went to exile because he wanted to be the minister of finance. I'm sure for him, it was a surprise. Even Nangoku Sesweleka, he is the man that was not living at large. He didn't like expensive things. I remember, or I heard one person that worked with him in his office as a governor, who said, you see, we went to him and said, we have bought 2 BMWs for you because you need to change your cars. Then he said, no, you need to sell those things because I don't need them. Again, this is a fighter, a struggle, a fighter who tend to be an academic. Why am I saying that? You know, in his last stages, he said something. Mr. Tito Mboweni is an architect of the neoliberalism or neoliberalist policy. He is an architect. He played a very good, a very prominent role in making sure that we have this type of economy, which is market fundamentalism, market-driven policy, neoliberalism. But however, what I want to cite when umsasazi into yokuba ngoku a professor, he was an honorable professor at University of UNIS. I was surprised when he said, in neoliberalism or neoliberalist policy is a dishonest order which produces dishonest people. That was very profound to be coming from him. And I remember now in his tribute, Floyd Shivambu from the MK Party, he also cited that when he was doing his tribute for Comrade Mboweni. Why is this significant when I put person? You see, if now now my PhD, there's the thesis, I would take what he has said and interrogate it, because lando ayithethileyo inomongo phakathi, that emva kuba yena ebe yi-architect of this same policy, now at the end uyibonile that this policy is a dishonest policy that produces dishonest people. If I had that as my topic, then I will agree with him by saying, you see, same thing can happen with order of neoliberal. For instance, load shedding. izibane zicime ngalaa ndlela bezicima ngayo, but itshintshe i-terminology ibe i-reduction ingabi i-load shedding. But it's the same thing. Ukungathethi nge-privatization, ngoku uyibona uba yi-privatization, kuthiwa no, we are unbundling u-Eskom, we are unbundling u-Transnet. But uthi xa uyijonga, it's the same thing, meaning it is a dishonesty, it is a dishonest order. Uyibonile ke ngoku at the end of the
It's
day.
only the change of terminology.
It's only the change of terminology. So I would go and interrogate, maybe in my research further, kule nto ebeyithetha, because now nam oko bendisitsho that this is a dishonest nto. But I want to quick go, simpraise.
We've got 30 seconds.
We've got 30 seconds, simpraise. But as an architect, they change, including him, we must say that they change your ready to govern document owaye adoptwe in 1992 by the ANC. Bama outsource to IMEG, IMEG abbreviation Macroeconomic Research Group, led by Uveli Musa, of which khange yenziwe i-change enkulu. Uzotshintshwa without any consultation by any parties by Trevor Manuel with Department
Let's leave it there.
of Economics and Planning. No,
We'll definitely continue after the ad break. Let's go for a commercial ad break for the last time. Kosikhona ngokuba kunye nathi sisekunye naye umhlalutyi wethu. Mhlekazi Mandana, masigqibezele oko besithetha ngako phambi koba sive nje.
Let us quickly recap so that siyithethe yonke lento into yokuba ngabana kwi-Department of Economics and Planning, Tito Mboweni was there, not Trevor. And this MEG never changed anything major kule policy ndithetha ngayo.
Or ready to govern.
Yeah, but what is important is that they never went back to the conference or the ANC summit or the Alliance summit to say, no, we are changing this. This was driven by Tito Mbeki,
Certain group.
the certain group, AB Economic Planning Department. Now, did you know that Mandela went to, in 1991, he went to the World Economic Forum. The people who wrote his speech, Sir Nelson Mandela, to be delivered there, Kokuse London, the ANC, or Trevor, no Tito, knew, and then they wanted to read as a speech. They took that speech, basibeka eqaleni because sithetha nge-nationalization, and in their own, they gave uMandela something that was not of.
Where did they get the mandate?
So the ANC iqale pha ukuba ne-problem ne-policy of the left and the right, because even Oliver Tambo, he uze wa-establisha i-commission ekwakuthiwa yi-O'Malley Commission. That O'Malley Commission came with a report because they whether kuze umntu kuye okanye suspected that there is this cabal elapha eSouth Africa eyenza eyayo into engeyiyo le. Pravin Gordhan was one of them. It's a report, it's not me. It's a report by O.R. Times, an O'Malley report. Yiyo ethetha loo nto. So this cabal yiyo ke ngoku without a-consultation, even the growth, employment and redistribution kaThabo Mbeki, no, it's the product kaTrevor Manuel ehleli kwi-Development Bank of South Africa. The RDP minister, Jay Naidu, owayejonge minister without portfolio, owayejongene ne-RDP, uyazi ngalaa mini iyo-introducwa i-growth, employment and redistribution, but that there is this policy. Intliziyo yakhe was very, very hard. Now, uRonnie Castles uthi, khange siyibone into yoba kwenzeke nto na, sithe siqhwanyaza sabe sesinale policy, but all what we know today, this policy is a dishonest policy. This policy is not growing. This policy, it doesn't create employment. There's high unemployment. There's poverty. People are paying high taxes of electricity and everything. Nangona kuthenjiswa into yokuba ngabana this policy is policy of growth and the policy is our redistributor. This is a Washington consensus policy with 10-point plan. It privatization of the SOEs, protection of the private property, you name it. Reduction of uyothuka ubuza into yokuba ngabana kutheni eCape Town kuzawudendwa awutishara abayi 2000. It's part of the policy. Austerity measure, spend less on education, spend less on health. It's deliberate. So ithetha enye into le policy xa kuthethwa, we're creating jobs, we're creating growth. Sina 30 years with this policy. Sina 30 years, but people are still suffering even today. It's not me, it's research. Our economy is growing very slow if it is growing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mbandana. Let's move on. Last week, Thursday, the ANC celebrated 100 days of GNU without its ally, the SACP. Where does this alliance going to?
Last thing, Glendo Iteta GNU. Tito Mboweni is the one who was on TV, on media, saying this is not GNU. Tito Mboweni was another Tito Mboweni when he became an academic. You know, he is the one that said this is not GNU. The definition of GNU, and Kekudala Namdi Iteta, he emphasized that is a coalition. Because even if unoti thatha bonke abantu bangene ne-EFF zingene yonke laa nto ziyoba phaa kwi-government, i-separation of powers zaka-Montesquieu are against that. You need to have a separation of, you need to have a legislature, you need to have executive and the judiciary. So xa ungazubakho apha kwi-legislature, then kubekho wonke umntu agavunishe, who's going to do the checks and balances? And even if bazaba khona, because not wonke umntu uzaba minister or deputy minister, yes, but okusalayo is that le party kuzathiwa senzile apho just stempishani nina apho. So siyafana nabantu abane one party state boss, akho mntu uzawujonga atshekishe boss yenziwe ngaba bantu ya approve kwangabo. Now other people may argue, and as they were arguing, that we're not celebrating but what we saw is celebration.
We've got 3 minutes.
Yeah, what we saw, it was a celebration. And celebration, union, this is unity, according to you. So I think when you celebrate, to celebrate, and maybe your partner will be there at the same time. But all what I'm trying to say, it was a celebration, but they said they are going to reflect. It's leadership who reflects on something good or something bad. And now, if you reflect, you must measure. Abantu into wana bathini bafuna ntoni na umuve phi ebantwini. How did I do CGNU kule nto bendiyithetha ye-employment? Stats SA is giving us stats every day that unemployment apha instead iba worse kunoba mayicotheke. So, meaning, we are planting a tree yama appeal, si expect into ngabana sifuna ama basic. Now, you can deal with crime, you can deal with GDP and all that. But the problem is not there. You are not going to the root of this problem. Yintoni le ibangela into ngabana abantu bethu babe kule nto? It's the Washington consensus that the Democratic Alliance and the ANC, the neoliberal policy that they are following. If you are unemployed, you are bound into ulambe. If kuno ulamba endlini, you are bound to be GBV kuliwe pha endlini. If uyalamba, you are bound into ibe khona crime. There is no country that has got this high employment rate. Go to Brazil, go in this high employment rate, and at the same time, you're expecting that there is no crime. So you'll be dealing with the branches, and you'll be dealing with the...
It's a pity we are running out of time. Advocate Mkhwebane left EFF and Parliament.
Yes.
Was it expected?
I've listened to her yesterday. He was interviewed by Umpofu, Sizwe Mpofu, and he mixed no words. So I was expecting it, but not today, because she said herself into Bangabana she will be resigning very soon, because she was citing into Bangabana one, yena akayiqhelanga, politics is not space sakhe. And then what is worse, kule organization akuyo, there is too much bureaucracy of commanders and don't do that. So before ube kanti ufuna ukwenza into ethile, ufuna exercise skills sakho is very
You have to
limited.
consult.
Yeah, you have to consult and all that. And so ukuba ngabana bekuya ngaye yena ebenokuhamba aye ba kuthiwa kwabuzwa kuba uyahamba na, what, yes, I will be resign, uyaphi, then I would love to go to United Nations human rights because ndiyathanda usebenza nabantu. But anyway, uthe ukuba i-MK iyaluvula ucango, she will consider. My own analysis, EFF, i-organization shame engayi-appreciate abantu noko abakhulu ne-wisdom yabo. I think ibethakele i-EFF ngolo hlobo kwabantu bakhulu kuba ngabo ngomama uMkhwebane.
Always a pleasure to host you, Mr. Montana. Nkosi kakhulu.
Thank you very much, Mrs. And to the
Ngolo hlobo ke nenkqubo yethu yosuku namhlanje ifikelele esiphelweni, masibuye sibonane kwakhona kwixesha elizayo kwinkqubo ye-VOB Voice of the Bay with myself Percy Mbuso Kubenzolo, idinga ngomso kwinkqubela FM from 6 up until 9 in the evening. Adios.